What's going on, everybody? You're now tuned into Survival Kid Business. I'm Mariah. Thanks so much for tuning back in. Today is June the 30th, 2022. We are almost out of June, and June feels like it flew by. If you haven't been paying attention to the news, Roe versus Wade was recently overturned. So a lot of people are interested in how that will affect our right to privacy. And just as of today, another ruling in the same 6-3 ruling, the same as Roe versus Wade, um, they overturned EPA regulations. EPA, that's basically what keeps businesses regulated with emissions and things of that nature. Mainly the auto industry, for example, is heavily regulated. So this is going to be interesting. A lot of people are pumping and pushing towards electric vehicles. This will be interesting to see if businesses take the onus on themselves to continue to monitor their emission output. So that'll be interesting to see. Thought that was interesting to bring up. But today we will be talking about hustle culture. All right, hustle culture is a fairly new terminology in this wonderful world of entrepreneurship. And so I felt like why not talk about it? I am a victim of hustle culture. Yes, I I suffer from hustle culture. It's very easy to get wrapped up in, especially when you're in business, especially when you are an aggressive business owner. So yeah, I figured why not talk about it, right? So let's hop right into it. I always have a quote. So the quote of the day is hustle culture is Stockholm syndrome for capitalism. Hustle culture is Stockholm syndrome for capitalism that has been floating around a lot of social media outlets. So what is Stockholm syndrome? It's basically when you grow like an affection for your captors. So if you think about, for the sake of this example, you think about anyone in a domestic violence relationship, and thinking back to the times of slavery, a lot of the slaves would grow an affection towards their slave masters. A lot of those who are in domestic violence situations grow unhealthy affection for the one that is violating them, the abuser. And so this is a heavy quote to say that those who are a part of hustle culture just have Stockholm syndrome for capitalism. Capitalism is the type of society that we live in, especially where I'm at in the US. So I thought that quote was very interesting. Wanted to use it as my quote of the day because I'm like, dang, y'all, that's how y'all feel about me? Okay. So let's get into it. What is hustle culture? Hustle culture is a type of lifestyle um, that you choose, and it's basically how you handle your career journey. Are you an aggressive person chasing after your goals, or are you not so aggressive chasing after your goals? Hustle culture leads towards the aggression and chasing your goals. So, just some things that I wrote down. It can definitely affect your hobbies, your family time. The environment that you're in can dictate whether or not you can participate in this type of culture. A lot of people in the 9 to 5 world experience this when they're looking for promotions. They join this hustle culture mentality, and they're just trying to advance. They're trying to move up. As you know, it's very difficult to move up in your job. I have moved up recently, and it was not the easiest thing. I was in one role for a very long time. And then I started changing the way that I operated. I started changing the way that I moved. And after that, I did notice a change in how I was received. I did notice more recognition, and I was able to obtain that advancement. So, hustle culture has its pluses and its minuses. A lot of people have a side eye towards it because, honestly, to tell you the truth, we are all working very, very hard right now. We are in a recession. I know people say we're approaching a recession, but if you're in the trenches with the rest of us, right? If you're really around people who were already struggling, it always hits the little guy the hardest. And so, hustle culture is a way to cope. It's a way to make extra money. But it can have some negative effects on you, right? Too much of anything is a bad thing, and too much work can burn you out. That's one of the biggest side effects of hustle culture. It just straight up burns you out. I have felt burned out plenty of times working on my dreams, working on my job. It's just like, man, it doesn't feel like it's ever enough. So hustle culture can definitely have negative effects on you, okay? I remember one time I I believe it was my most recent birthday. I took off a week from work. I have never taken off a week from work at all, like ever. Ever. I've just never taken off a full week. Either I didn't have enough PTO or I felt like, what do I need a week off of work for? And so I've always had enough PTO around my birthday, but I never taken a week off of work. I finally decided to take a week off of work, and I was so antsy the entire week. I didn't know what to do with myself. I was just kind of sitting there like, man, I this is not the life for me. I need to do something. I need to get up. I need to move. I wasn't in the right mindset to just sit still, which is crazy. I wasn't in the right mindset to sit still. I did not understand what it meant to sit still and just breathe and relax. And sometimes hustle culture takes your relaxation away. You don't really understand what it means to just fool out, relax, and chill and not do anything. And I was a victim of that. I'm constantly working on it. I'm just a worker by nature. My mother is a worker. She's always had a job, sometimes two. And so that's all. That's the only example I see. My father, I remember him having 2 to 3 jobs at a time. All the adults that I admired around me were entrepreneurs, and so they were working 24/7. So I never knew what it looked like to just chill and just kind of enjoy yourself. And so hustle culture has a way of removing that relaxation, and it keeps you in this constant state of moving. And as you know, the body needs rest. And if you don't rest, that can create some health issues. So how do I feel about hustle culture? There's pluses and minuses. There's some good to hustle culture because it keeps you on the grind. It does work towards elevation and growth and upward mobility with your career path or your entrepreneurial endeavors. However, it does have negative side effects as well, like burnout, feeling like you're not enough, imposter syndrome. There's a whole lot of things that this can lead to. It can also lead to depression, mental health issues. And so while hustle culture has its pluses, it does have its minuses. We all have to learn how to relax, okay? So as you know, I always give my survival tips for you to put in your survival kit. You ready? Here we go. All right. So number one, reminder, busy does not always mean active. Just because you're busy does not mean you're actually actively doing something. You're just busy. You're just moving around. You ever see a kid and they're just moving? They're not doing anything. They're just running back and forth, screaming, and they feel like they're getting something done. What to the outside, you're just looking like they're just running themselves ragged, which is a good thing for kids, but for adults, that's a terrible thing. You don't want to run yourself ragged as an adult, right? For kids, yes, let them run, let them play so they can go to sleep, right? But for an adult, just because you're busy does not mean you're being productive. And so remember that hustle culture can kind of get into your mind and make you believe that you're being productive when really you're not really moving that much. You're just kind of moving around, you're looking busy, and that can lead to procrastination. So you want to keep that in mind, all right? Number two, listen to your body. My pop always told me that the body speaks and the body will let you know exactly what it needs. And so if you don't pay attention to that, that can be it can be a very detrimental thing to your health, right? The body lets you know when it's thirsty. You don't have to overindulge in water. The body will let you know, hey, I'm thirsty, feed me water. The body will let you know when you need sugar. You'll start craving something sweet. The body let you know when you need certain type of protein and iron. The body will speak to you. So if you hear your body talking to you, if you're constantly yawning, if you're constantly now you sit at your desk all day, now your back is starting to hurt because you haven't gotten up, you haven't stretched. These are all signs to take care of yourself. Health is wealth. And if you've been following this journey of mine, I've been back on my health kick. I used to be into it so heavy, and then I had a few nicks and tinks in my body, and so I had to sit out from some of my heavy working out. Now I'm back. back to running a mile. Feels so great. I'm trying to work up to 3 days a week. Right now I'm only on 2 days a week, so yeah. But it feels good. I'm starting to be able to hear my body again. You can get lost sometimes when you're not listening and you're not being active about listening. If you choose to ignore your body, that can have some bad effects in the long run. So make sure you're paying attention to yourself. Listen to it. It will speak to you, all right? Hustle culture can burn you out. And I'm sure your body is screaming the whole time, hey, I need a break. Your mind will let you know, I need to rest. Signs of that is a headache. Sometimes you work too much and now your head starts to hurt. You've been looking at the screen too long. You've been reading too long. You've been writing too long. Your wrist is hurting. You got to give yourself a break. The body is not a robot. It is meant to have some downtime, okay? So pay attention to your body. And that leads into the next point. It's like a caveat. Schedule a rest day. My rest day used to be Sunday, and then I stopped resting and I just got enthralled into work. Now I'm back on it. So in this case, Saturday is becoming my rest day. I just have to take a minute to just do whatever I want to do. If that's lounge around, I'll lounge around. If I'm being active, then I'm being active. But there has to be a day of the week where you just chill. I'm kind of thinking about switching it back to Sunday. I like the Sunday day of rest type of vibe. But yeah, mainly on the weekends is when I choose to rest. So that's the day that I designate for resting. You have to pick a day to rest. You have to rest. At least give yourself 24 hours to just chill, all right? And so my next point, clearly define what success means to you. We can all be chasing something, but what exactly are we chasing? We got to do some root cause analysis, okay? What is the problem? That's the first step of root cause analysis. Figure out what the problem is that you're trying to solve. So what's the ultimate goal? Are you looking for financial freedom? But be even more specific. Financial freedom to do what? Do you want financial freedom to be able to take vacations once a month? Once every other month, once a year, pay off some loans, some debt, and then once you pay that debt off, what's the goal after that? So figure out this very, very specific goal that you're looking to do. That way you can know what to work towards. So again, we're not just running around being busy and not being productive, which goes back to the first point, okay? And then lastly, understand the reason for why. So yeah, you have a goal, but what's the reason for the goal? What's the purpose of the goal? I know it's floating around. You don't need a goal. I don't believe in that. I do believe you need goals. Everything needs a goal. We wake up. What's the goal? What's the purpose of the day? Got to be some type of goal. You just kind of wandering around. But hey, if that's what you do and it works for you and the bills are paid, feel free to wander. But for me and those like myself, there has to be some type of purpose, and we want to know the reason for why. And so understand why you're doing what you're doing, okay? Realize, is this just a hobby? Is this a career that I'm trying to pursue? Is this like a long-term goal that I have in mind? All right, so these are some things that you just want to keep in mind. That way you can kind of stay away from that hustle mentality where you kind of constantly be grinding, because you will burn yourself out, all right? So let's run back through the survival tips, okay? Number one, busy does not mean productive. All right. Just because you're busy doesn't mean you're actually being productive. Number two, listen to your body. If you're getting tired, you need a rest day, please listen to yourself. Your body will let you know, which is the next point. Take a rest day. Make a specific day of the week where you do absolutely nothing but chill, no work, no business emails, none of that. Just relax, all right? I know it's hard for those who have multiple responsibilities, but try to at least fit in like 5 hours to just chill out, okay? Make sure you're clearly defining your goals, and then make sure you understand the reason for why you even want those goals, okay? Some of us are chasing things that our family put on us, our friends, our spouses, our children. So kind of get back to you and figure out those things, all right? So that's my take on hustle culture. I think it has its plus and its minus. Um, it can be good for you, but also it can lead to burnout and all kind of mental health issues. So you want to make sure you're being mindful of that. And one thing that keeps me in check is the quote of the day. Hustle culture is Stockholm syndrome for capitalism. That's deep. And if you find yourself being deeply enthralled in hustle culture, you might want to take a step back and remember why you are doing what you're doing in the first place. All right. So again, I'm Mariah. Thanks so much for listening. That's all I have for you today. I like to keep it short and sweet for y'all. Real quick, want to go. New episodes drop every Thursday at 6 p.m. Visual drops on YouTube on Friday. Thanks so much for listening. Love y'all. Peace.